Hi, I'm Sean Michael. I want to tell you about the 4 reasons that now's the golden age to go solar with your overlanding. I teach outdoor product design at Utah State University, and we're going to talk about 4 of the top technologies for today. First of all, our panels. They're the heart of your system and they're the most visible, but there's been a lot changing in the technology these days. Most of us are used to old school monocrystalline panels. They're rigid, they're in an aluminum frame, and they're highly efficient and affordable. We see new versions of that today, and they're coming in foldable panels that are also portable and that we can deploy out into the field. Again, fast, easy to deploy, and tough. Some of them you can even drop, no problem. And they come in different sizes, even small ones that you can backpack with or put on your moto. So for those of us who travel by moto and not just in a big vehicle, it's really nice to be able to have a foldable panel. And so one like this from Overland Solar, very compact, and yet it still has a good output. Easy to drape over your tent or on your moto when you're parked, or even atop the back in a smaller configuration for when you're rolling. Charge controllers are all baked in, so it's an all-in-one system ready to go and easy to plug in whatever devices you need to charge. So the heart of these systems is a solar cell. It's a crystalline cell like this, and they're sort of similar to glass, very thin, and they are the magic in the system. But there's an issue with them, and it's their fragility. And the reason is these are rigid to avoid damage, which happens if they're bent too far. So flexible panels avoid that challenge. In fact, tough flexible panels, especially those coming out of the solar industry serving offshore sailing, are very tough. They're flexible. This one from Solbian is made for deep water sailing. And then others are very packable, some serving the military. They're foldable, easy to deploy, and they'll even take a bullet shot and still keep performing. For most of us, though, we want something that really works on our vehicle. And for that, a simple flexible like one of these allows us to mount them on the roof. They're tough, they're adaptable to the surface, and they're still pretty efficient compared to a monocrystalline like this. The other advantages with them is that they're lightweight and easy to glue down to a surface. For instance, we can even put them on the hood of a vehicle or on the roof, and they handle very well. So how do you choose between which you need? First of all, the flexible panels give you flexibility, literally. You can put them onto different surfaces, you can put them out on the ground easily, and they're lighter to pack up. Sometimes a rigid panel is helpful because if we get a windy day, they don't blow over, move as easily. Or if you need something that really folds down nicely, these rigid panels allow you to pack them up easily, and they come in all different sizes. So advantages for each of them, but a lot of the industry is starting to tilt towards creating these flexible panels. So normally we don't see the top of our vehicles much, but this is where solar lives. And so this is where flexible panels really come into their own. On a van rack like this one, we can glue down a panel such as this. This is a Merlin solar panel. It's got self-adhesive and it sticks down, rated for highway speeds. It's tough. I can stand on it, no problem. Get a little dirty, we just wipe it off. But if you have a curved surface, it works for that as well. And so this is one of those places, again, that we love the flexible panels because you don't want to be stepping on one of those rigid panels. Tough, able to stand the sun, and highly efficient. It's a great place for solar panels, especially flexibles. The other place that these panels are great is somewhere that's really new to the industry, and that's using your hood. Again, flexible panels allow us to mount on there. So let me show you an example of a hood-mounted flexible solar panel. So don't try this with a rigid panel, but these flexibles, 40 watts, 80 watts total, is a great new product line that's coming out of our friends in Canada, Cascadia 4x4. And it lets us use this hood that otherwise doesn't have any functional value for us. Now we've got solar on it, charging your starter battery or an auxiliary battery as well. Let's take a look at the other heart, the hidden heart of the system, and that's your battery, your storage system, and some of the new technology coming out there. So our solar panels are how we collect the sun's power, but this is where we store it. We've got to have a means to, like a fuel tank, keep all that electricity. And what's been changing in battery technologies is really exciting. And it's basically the chemistry inside of these batteries. Now, first of all, if you've ever lifted a battery, you know that you're not going to do this with a regular lead acid battery, right? This is lithium technology. And so the lithium-based batteries have a ton of advantages. And while we talk about them more in our classes at Expo, I want to give you just a hint about why they've really revolutionized the whole industry. First of all, they're lightweight, as you can see. This one weighs about 30 pounds. Secondly, they can be mounted in any position, no problem there. Next, they have a huge lifespan advantage. So rather than 350 charge cycles, you can get 3,500, so 10 times the charge cycle out of a lithium versus out of a lead acid. Another advantage with them is that you can fully deplete them and then recharge them. Don't try that with a lead acid battery. Usually 50% depletion is the deepest you want to go. And for most of us, when we're traveling, we use about 100 amp hours of battery capacity. This battery is a 100 amp hour system. This van, like many vans, has between 300 and 400 amp hours, and so it's a more robust system. Why? Well, because we increasingly are bringing our devices into the wild. Refrigerators, lights overhead, cell boosters, charging our laptops and cameras. All of this needs more storage, and lithium allows us to do that. And so for all of its advantages, the only real disadvantage is cost factor. But looked at it over the lifespan of a battery that can last upwards of 15 years, and in fact, companies like Expo have a 15-year warranty on them, you're getting a big return on your money. But how do we charge those when we don't have sun and we can't be using our solar panel? That's the third technology I want to share with you to talk about why now's a great time. So what do we do when we're parked in the shade, or it's snowy or overcast? Well, part of the time we're charging while we're driving. And most of us are used to the alternator on our vehicle charging both our starter battery and our auxiliary or house batteries. The problem is they're not smart chargers, and that's where we have today's next innovation. A DC to DC charger is an innovation that has really been a game changer for how we're able to intelligently charge our batteries. When we're driving, these optimize the charging cycle and therefore the lifespan of your batteries. And an expensive battery like a lithium, you want to make sure it's charged right. So these DC-DC or DC to DC chargers are really helpful in that. They're quite compact, but they are taking the power from your starter battery and they're redirecting in a controlled fashion to be able to top off your house batteries. A great way to pair it with your solar panels for all conditions. So what if you don't need a full-scale system built into your vehicle and able to produce a ton of power? Well, the portables or all-in-ones are really where that comes into play. So if you want a system that allows you to gather solar power and store it in a battery and convert it for 12-volt use, portables like this one from PowerFilm allow you to do that. Or one like this Jackery system where the solar panel is separate, foldable, semi-flexible, and it simply plugs in to the system here and you can charge it in the field. You can plug in with your laptop or with a USB. And so it's very handy, very lightweight, also uses a lithium battery on the inside. And there are much larger versions from many companies, from Renogy, Goal Zero, and others, to be able to do that. Or maybe you want something even more compact. And so small ones like this both allow wireless charging and they allow you to be able to plug into a solar panel, throw it in your bike or backpack, and travel with it. So these all-in-one systems have made it much easier to buy a simple system that doesn't have to be staying on your vehicle, can be used in multiple fashions, and are an affordable way to get into solar power right from the get-go. So whatever system you need, a lightweight portable like this, or upgrading your system, or building out a full vehicle, it's a great time to get into solar with these technologies. We'll be covering that and so much more in our full solar classes at Overland Expo events across America. And if you can't attend, you can also go to overlandexpo.com where we've got more information. Either way, we hope to see you out there on the trails adventuring and powering with solar. Thanks for joining us.